Pedophile! Pedophile!
Why is that a sexual
So you
thing?
think adults should be able to wear whatever they want in front of children?
Sure.
So
Canadians are really uptight.
G-strings.
Sure. Why not? It's
Well,
a body. It's a human
that's your
body.
answer.
Why not?
So
It's a human body.
Two different
we have
sizes.
naked men reading to little kids?
Sure, it's a human body.
I usually just ask the question, would this be okay if it were heterosexual? And the answer is no.
Who are you? What are your credentials? What is
I'm
this?
Dre Humphrey with Rebel News covering the protest.
If the performers are not being paid, what is the interest that they have in performing for children?
Why are you sexualizing little kids? Do you even have children? Do any of you weirdos even have children? Do any of you have children? Get your dick and balls out of the face of my kids. You guys are groomers. Groomers. Pedophiles. 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 Pedophiles.
Will the good Lord help us, please? I'm standing in the midst of another drag queen storytime protest. This time, the featured drag queens that will be speaking and singing to children from the ages of 3 to 10 right at Kids House in West 7th Vancouver. Their names are Tara Bellotti and, get this, Satanix. You can't make this stuff up.
Why are you sexualizing little kids? Can't you just go to a nightclub with your friends? Why are you coming after the little kids? Why are you coming after the little ones?
There's approximately 70 people gathered here. In a few minutes, there is supposed to be a drag queen story time. I'm about to show you some pictures. Make sure if there's children in the room, you turn off the TV, get them in another room where it's safe. And take a look at these pictures at some of the people speaking. You can see here is Satanix, Tara Bellotti. He's got a tattoo of Satan on his leg. I'm not sure what world we live in, but before you paint the brush of the protesters here as some sort of bigots for not thinking this is appropriate for little children because it's not inclusive of the LGBTQ community, I'd like to caution you to be careful not to paint everybody with the same brush in that community, because there are many who are against drag queen storytime events happening for children. And I can't believe that this is a Satanix-inspired one. Let's talk to some of the protesters here and see if we can talk to anybody from Heritage Hall.
I mean, everyone perfectly okay to have drag queens, performing and dancing in front of children. Just so everybody understand, a drag queen is a man, okay, sexually dressed like a woman, okay, will perform in the front of children. That's what it is. So if I think anyone who agree with that is the red in their head. It's clear.
All you need is love. Love is all you need. One more time.
Even if they think they are doing this for love, they are the red. And we have either to wake them up or to stop them.
One of my nephews was molested by somebody like this. Why can't you have a conversation? Why do liberal people never want to have a conversation? How is sexualizing children loving? How is sexualizing children loving?
All right, Odessa, understandably, you got quite heated up there. Tell everybody why this means so much to you.
So I want to make a statement because the news and the trans community gaslight us and they don't stick to the facts. I am not anti-trans. I danced for Disney for years. 99% of my male friends are gay or bi, okay? So I love my gay friends. In fact, I used to work with a man named Michael Venus, who booked all the drag shows down on Davie. And I used to go have a beer and enjoy the drag shows with my friends. So I have no problem with adults doing that. And in fact, I have no hate towards anybody, who they sleep with, how they perform, what they wear. There was not a big problem with that in Vancouver. But now, why are they having men in G-strings do thrusting weird stuff in front of toddlers? There is nothing about that is loving. This is not about teaching kids to be accepting. We were already doing that. This is showing little kids that having hairy men around, thrusting their genitalia at the kids is okay. And it's actually a form of grooming our children to be uncomfortable and think it's okay. This is what we're talking about, and this is why I'm here, and I live around the corner. My children used to go to Kit's house. So there are people who do these shows that are getting busted for sexually abusing children. Why are we taking an innocent young child, gay or straight, and putting sex in front of them? Let them become teenagers, then they can learn about it. It's bizarre what's going on, and this is a dark, dark agenda, and it is definitely grooming children to accept sexuality towards them from adults. End of story.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Bobby Shark!
What's up, guys?
Bobby Shark! Mother Shark! Mother Shark! Woo!
What a surprise. Liberal women wanting to sexualize kids. Who could have ever guessed it? Beta male, Starbucks employee. I mean, it's just so stereotypical, isn't it? One of these drag queens happens to be the drag queen librarian that I spoke to on the street for about 45 minutes last year.
Why do you think gender nonconformity requires unproven experimental puberty-blocking drugs?
Oh, you're gay! Oh my god! You're someone who hates yourself so much that you have to stop other people from being themselves. I see.
They see my sign and they jump to all sorts of conclusions right away. They don't actually read the sign. My sign on my front that day said children cannot consent to puberty blockers. And they process that as though I want to kill trans people or something. Like, there's no critical thinking going on here at all. So we had a good long conversation. And I posted it on social media. It was viewed tens of thousands of times. So whatever, he did me a good favor. But I posted another video today of him at one of his drag shows. So I don't know why we need to have drag queens giving sexualized performances in front of 3-year-olds. Why don't we go to the senior center and get some of these senior citizens who are lonely and bring them down to read stories to kids? They'd love it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Why do we have to do the most debaucherous thing possible?
Tammy, now you came all the way here from Chilliwack. Why was it so important to do so?
Somebody already made me cry once today. Just to protect our children. Also, this is not an LGBT community agenda. I'm a lesbian. I've been married for 31 years. I've been married for 11. We've been together 31. I have 4 children, 13 grandchildren, and I don't want them subjected to any of this. They'll learn this when they're adults. I don't have a problem with drag. I don't have a problem with transgender. I don't have a problem with any of it, but it's adult entertainment, and SOGI you should deal with that when you're an adult.
All right, looks like we have a little bit of counter-protesters. The police did show up as well. They're just, I guess, making sure the peace is being kept. Let's see if we can interview some of the counter-protesters. Hi. How are you guys? Can I get your side of this? Did you want to speak to the public about why you're here? No? This is so typical. We'll see if we'll get anybody to articulate a sentence. Can I ask you why it's important for you guys to be here today?
Don't engage.
Why? Why not, though? What's the point of protesting if you don't want your voice to be heard? Like, I'm just genuinely trying to offer the public both sides of the story here.
Are they that ugly? I only support my own YouTube channel, not other people's.
Oh, just you, and that's it. But you're here for a reason, right? You're making a stand, right? So what is that stand? Or are you just promoting your YouTube channel? What's your channel called? I don't know what it is. Counter-protesters just never seem to want to articulate the passion, the drive that they have to come out. And I don't know how you can find common ground with people without doing so. But we've seen this many times over and over. We try to let their voice be heard, and I don't know. I have no words.
We've got children and grandchildren in kids. I mean, this is just awful to have this happen. This brainwashing and indoctrination of our children.
Are you guys hearing about it happening in your grandkids' schools or anything like that?
Absolutely. Gladstone School out in East Vancouver, they celebrate it.
So I got kids in school. I've been paying attention to this issue for a while. I actually ran for school board trustee just previously.
In this city or?
In Richmond. And it was the level of discourse is pathetic, right? There's a huge lack of awareness in what's really going on. And there's a lot of kids that think they're born in the wrong body. Like this, all this stuff is tied together. In a bunch of different places, this and in the schools, I usually just ask the question, would this be okay if it were heterosexual? And the answer is no, right? If it were heterosexual, would you have men dancing with their balls out in front of girls? Like why do we do that? Why don't we have 50 Shades of Grey, a kids version in schools, right? So that's where it seems like once somebody says it's inclusive or something like that, all the thinking just goes away.
Can I ask you guys why it's important for you to be here today?
I absolutely want to support them. I'm so proud of them and the community, the LGBTQ plus community, that I didn't want them to feel that they weren't welcome and loved.
Does it surprise you to know that there are people from the LGBT community protesting against this event?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'd have to speak with them to understand their philosophy.
Okay. Would you like me to bring one of them over to you?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's all right.
It's all right?
Yeah.
You could speak for yourself, right?
In this case, they're not here to talk about, comedy or any inappropriate posts online. They're here primarily just to share the message that it's okay to be whoever you want to be, and there's no difference between really someone who dresses up and someone who doesn't. And it's the priority here is not to promote whatever their inappropriate posts are or their Twitter, Instagram to children. It's purely just for the message of it's okay.
So do you think that there's any understanding of why maybe there are some parents who are concerned about this type of stuff happening for ages 3 to 10 when they see those types of profiles, or you think it's just totally hate and bigotry?
I don't think it's all hate and bigotry. I think a lot of it is just not fully understanding the situation. It is reasonable, of course, to be concerned about cases like that, but I feel as though what is important is consistency. If you're going to be outraged about this level of outraged about someone reading to children when they have posts on their Twitter that some people might not approve of, then it's important to be consistent across the whole board and also protest, although I would say not quite to this aggressive an extent, in other situations where there are people who are doing similar acts who also have inappropriate things on their social media. It is to say the inconsistency in this case, the fact that people like this come here now shows that they don't really care about whether or not people's posts in online social media are actually harmful or anything like that. They're coming here because they protest this sort of concept. But stuff like stop grooming the children or pouring water on a Trans Lives Matter sign that's not protesting the drag queens. This is protesting people who it's protesting the community in general. I mean, I think that you could, if you want freedom of expression, if you want to protest, feel free to protest. But I think that in this case, I think that saying that parents are worried about their children being around someone who is social media points, I disagree with that. I think the movement is primarily here to disagree with the community.
So it looks like children did make it inside of the Kits House area, which is the one that's doing the story time. Behind me at the door, I think that is the director there. We're going to see if we can try to speak to him maybe after the protest dies down. But yeah, a lot of people with a lot of raw emotions.
Pedophiles, 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 pedophiles.
One of the liberal mothers bringing her toddlers to see drag queen story hour.
Absolutely disgusting.
Pedophile! 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 Pedophile!
I came early to speak with the executive director about the performers that were performing here. I thought it was interesting that he found it to be still appropriate for children given the knowledge of what the professional personas of their performers were.
Did you show pictures or anything like that?
Well, we had a conversation. I didn't show pictures, but he was fully aware of what their professional portfolios were showing. So
Do you know if they did any background checks? I mean, that's one of the questions I'll try to get across. Or
he said that they do a criminal record check. He also told me that there was no funding for this, which is confusing to me. I mean, I have some questions about, well, if the performers are not being paid, what is the interest that they have in performing for children? I mean, they obviously there is an interest. I have no issue with people and their life paths, but I feel that it's important that children are able to grow up in an innocent way, the way that I grew up. I think that maybe we are vulnerable in that we have a gap in our culture. There's no real rites of passage when it comes to sexuality when we're growing up. So people think that this is the right way to go. And what I see is the education of sexuality being geared towards kids that's pretty much influenced by pornography, and I don't think that that's the right message to be sending to children.
I don't understand why it's a problem when we are Canadians and we believe in inclusivity, we believe in human rights, we believe in freedoms. I mean, I understand if parents don't want to bring their children in, that's their choice. But if no one's being forced to and people are just bringing their children in to give them a variety of experiences with different types of human beings, what's the problem? I don't totally get it why we're teaching children to spread hate.
so do you think that they're spreading hate?
Yeah, by teaching that only people who look a certain way, have sex with certain people, adhere to a certain standard are acceptable and deserving of human rights and freedoms, and people outside of that need to be excluded and criticized and kicked out.
You talk about the slippery slope towards conservatism. What does that look like? What does that mean?
That means that only white, heterosexual, male-dominant societies are the right way to go.
No,
Christian,
but
white, heterosexual.
What's the slippery slope here? So what's wrong with protesting this here today?
So preaching hate towards any kind of difference from white, male-dominated, heterosexual, Judeo-Christian lifestyle is wrong.
People hypersexualized reading to preschoolers? Yeah, we shouldn't be doing that.
How is a human being dressing how they want to dress, sexualizing anything? It's a human body. Why is that a sexual
So you
thing?
think adults should be able to wear whatever they want in front of children?
Sure.
So
Canadians are really uptight.
G-strings.
Sure. Why not? It's a
Well,
body. It's a human
that's your
body.
opinion.
Why not?
So
It's a human body.
Two different
we have
sides.
naked men reading to little kids?
Sure, it's a human body.
Oh, okay.
If I don't agree with this guy,
No, you're just
if I'm
acting like
allowed
a
to if you're
fighting
allowed
for
to
the
yell,
right
you're
to
allowed
strip
in
in
your
front of
neighborhood.
kids.
So you want
That's
So
what
am
you're
I.
fighting
You tell me
for.
to get
The
out of
right
my own
to
neighborhood.
strip in front of kids.
Do I need to get out of my neighborhood? Can you have
What's
a
up,
rational
goof?
conversation?
I already asked you that, buddy. He's one to yell.
So were you just walking by? Is that what happened?
My son was wondering what all the yelling was. I live here. Who are you? What are your credentials? What is
I'm
this?
Dre Humphrey with Rebel News covering the protest.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you have a fellow, he founded the entire thing. What's his name?
Ezra Levant is our
Ezra
founder.
Levant, right. I've seen him.
Do you want me to walk by you?
No, I don't want to have anything to do with your media. It's heavily, heavily biased.
Okay, well, you could inform the public on your opinions if you think we're another side. We're not going to chop up.
Reasonable debate. It's reasonable debate. I've seen how you people handle things. It's not reasonable.
Well, if you saw my reports, you'd know we play what you say in full, sir. All right, this is Pierre Barnes. Now, if you haven't already seen it, you can check out our report where Pierre is really doing such a great job informing people about books like this one that are in schools and even sexual misconduct from thousands of teachers in Canada. So I guess it's obvious with that introduction, but why was it important for you to be here today?
I think it should be important for every parents to expose abusers. I think it is our duty as parents to protect our children and to stand up for them. So that's pretty easy. For me, it's just logical to expose people who are growing children, people who are showing the private part to children, and people who are making a parody of women, and they make kids think that it is okay. There's a lot of stuff. I think, they can be a voice only on one side. They need to be debate and even protest on both sides.
All right, well, is this going to be the new normal? Only time will tell. But what we do know is Rebel News will be here to bring you stories like this. Unlike the legacy media, we tell you the other side of the story. And we don't take a penny from the Liberal government to do that. So if you'd like to support our independent journalism, consider checking out some of our merchandise at rebelnewsstore.com. We have lots of fun Christmas stuff in right now, and everything that you buy there goes to support our independent journalism. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News.